Hola, ¿cómo están? What is going on, everyone? DarkScheme here, bringing you some Halo 5 gameplay. And today, I'll be talking to you guys a little bit about the Halo World Championship and where it's at the moment. And of course, talking a little bit about the MLG acquisition by Activision-Blizzard. So for a few reasons, I will only be talking about the North American teams this time around. Hopefully in the future I will be able to talk about different regions, but for now I will only be sticking to North America. For those who are unaware or who don't know, the Halo World Championship prize pool started off at $1 million, which was great, but with crowdfunding is now at $2 million. So that is a big milestone for Halo, and that number is still growing. As of now, 2 million is the final number that we have, but it has been a while since we've gotten that number, and there's no doubt in my mind that the Halo World Championship prize pool will be able to hit 3 million. But I think the big milestone will be hitting 4 million and above, and hopefully it gets that number, because I have a lot of faith and high hopes for Halo in the future, for it to continually grow and return to where it was once before. So with that said, the Halo World Championship so far has seen the beginning of the online ladder and a few online qualifiers, and the online ladder pretty much served as a point system to seed forward going tournaments and qualifiers. The first qualifier that happened was a great start, but definitely needed a little bit more exposure by 343 as far as advertising the tournaments and having others keep up with the tournaments. And I think one of the biggest things that they definitely needed to do is promote what was going on, where they could find the stream, at what time was the tournament starting for all the different regions, because there is information all over the place. Even looking backwards and looking for when the next online qualifier was, I had a little bit of trouble, so I had to backtrack to a very old post dating back to, I believe it was November, to find when that next online qualifier was. So they definitely need to work on it a little bit. Since the second qualifier has been a little bit better, but they definitely need to keep pushing forward and improving on promoting these qualifiers. So like I said, the first qualifier happened on December 20th, and the top 8 placings are as follows. In first place is Evil Geniuses, second place is Team Envious, third place is Team Let's Get This Money, fourth place Team Overdrive, fifth place Noble Esports, sixth place Kinetic Halo, seventh place is Team Liquid, and in eighth place CLG. So these placings are, for the most part, as expected, but with some surprising upsets for sure. One of the most notable ones, I think, was the series between Overdrive versus Team Liquid. Each game was relatively close. Every single game that was played, the scores were very close. There was a few interesting games here and there, but for the most part, it was close series. I think this was one of the biggest upsets, though, because Team Overdrive was a bunch of no-names, and I mean that respectively. I mean, Team Overdrive are definitely really good competitors, and I think most notably not prevalent in the Halo esports scene, so it was great to see some new names breaking into the scene, and I am definitely looking forward to see some even newer faces once again in qualifiers moving forward. So now let's fast forward to the most recent qualifier, which was the second one, and placings differ a little bit. This last qualifier took place January 3rd, this past Sunday, and top 8 placings are as follows. In first place is Team Allegiance, second place is Team Leftovers, third place is even CLG, fifth place is Team Liquid, sixth place is Noble Esports, seventh place is Team Let's Get This Money, and in eighth place is Lean and Dab. So some more upsets for the top half of the placings this time around. I think for this qualifier, Team Leftovers versus Team Evil Geniuses had notably close games, with EG only losing the series 2-3. So they only lost by one game, and every single game, like I said, was very, very close. So I think one of the things to take away from Evil Geniuses is that they definitely had a tougher bracket, and I feel like that's one of the things about this qualifier is that the brackets were a little bit more of a balanced side, whereas the first qualifier, the bracket felt like all the pros were on one side, whereas some other teams were on the other. So some people had easier brackets than others. This time around, it seems like that was not the case, but that is just me spitballing. For CLG, they did have a better placing this time around since last qualifier, going from an 8th place finish to a 4th place finish. Definitely not where they want to be placing, but I think that is an okay placing in my mind. Either way, the way I see it, EG also came up short, and for that I think CLG shouldn't be beating themselves up about it. I think they should be okay with their placing this time around, but definitely use this as fuel to continue improving. Liquid also placed better this time around, going from a 7th place finish to a 5th place finish, but not without getting outmatched by EG. I think that was a quick sweep by EG versus Liquid, and one of the biggest things was from last online qualifier to this current qualifier is that Team Liquid did have a roster change. For the roster change, the first qualifier that they played with Chig on their roster, but since then Chig was unofficially off the team, I think is the correct way to say it. I'm not sure what the correct verb is to say without getting myself into trouble, but pretty much Chig was replaced by Hysteria, and at the moment it is rumored that Chig will be taking a step back from competing in Halo. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Chig, especially because I know he is still streaming and playing Halo, so maybe he has something on the road to the Halo World Championship, but as far as competing, it seems like he's taking a break from all that. Taking a break from $2 million is kind of a big deal, so if he's not competing, then he must have something going on for sure. So I think whatever choice that he's made himself is probably the best for his future. So we'll put it at that, and moving forward, some teams that placed in the top 8 in the last qualifier were also knocked out. I think one of the biggest ones was that Team Envious had some sort of early DQ early on. I'm not sure what happened there. But also the adjusted online bracket that I talked about earlier, since the first qualifier, probably had a difference in how people placed this time around. So teams looking to break out are still a possibility. I think that we will still be seeing newer faces moving on in these all-in qualifiers. And one of the biggest things to note about this last qualifier is that it did take place after the holidays, so some teams had not been on to practice until the date of the qualifier. So, you know, being on the holidays, coming back from wherever you were around the world, visiting family, or just not being able to play video games that much will make a difference in the top 8 placings and finishes for every single person, especially when it is online Halo where anything can happen. So that is pretty much all the information you guys need to know as far as the online qualifiers. One of the next biggest thing is I guess a quick team update for Team Let's Get This Money. Since the second online qualifier, they have been acquired by a esports organization known as Dream Team, so Let's Get This Money will now be known as Dream Team. And for those who are interested in watching the next online qualifier, the next qualifier will take place Sunday, January 10th at twitch.tv/Halo. And for region-specific streams, they will be different. I'm not sure on that. I am unfortunately unaware of the information for that. Like I said, the information is a little bit tougher to find for different regions, and the stream is not twitch.tv/Halo, but I will see if I can find some information for you guys, and if I do, I will link you guys to that in the description below. But now let's get into MLG being acquired by Activision-Blizzard. And for the sake of keeping this video relatively short, I will be giving you the cliff notes of it. So all you have to know about MLG being acquired by Activision-Blizzard is that MLG was bought out for, $46 million by Activision-Blizzard. The money is yet to be officially confirmed, but 46 million is the only number being thrown around as far as speculation and rumor, and in reality the acquisition was announced before it was even confirmed officially by Activision Blizzard, so 46 million is the number I am going with at the moment. One of the other things that came from this news is that Sundance is no longer a CEO of the company, and from the words of Mike Sepso, who is the Senior Vice President of Activision Blizzard's esports branch, quote, "There is no CEO of MLG anymore." So it seems like MLG will not have CEO anymore. It doesn't seem as important as other roles, so it's looking like CEO will probably be one of those roles where it's really just thrown onto other people with other titles. So we'll see where that goes. I'm not sure how I feel about that. One of the next things is that MLG will still be fulfilling its role with other game developers and publishers, so that Counter-Strike tournament going on later this month is still on. And also quoted from Sepso is, quote, our mandate is as simple as go build the ESPN of esports, which means we gotta work with everyone." With that last quote in mind, what does this mean for the Halo World Championship? The current scenario for the Halo World Championship is, since they will still be fulfilling its roles with other game developers, it means that MLG will still fulfill its role in the Halo World Championships until completion with the Halo World Championship Finals. Now, after that, I am not sure what happens. If I'm putting emphasis on the last quote, the best scenario for Halo is that Activision Blizzard will allow MLG to run as it does now, and after fulfilling obligatory roles, CSGO tournament this month, Halo World Championships, so on and so forth, all while Activision Blizzard has MLG run and promote tournaments for most, if not all, Activision Blizzard titles. So that means that they will allow other games to be on MLG, and for MLG to continue running tournaments for these different types of games from third-party developers, all while promoting their esports titles, something like Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, and maybe even World of Warcraft as well. But in reality, we'll see where that goes. The worst case scenario for Halo will have to look elsewhere for partners to run tournaments. In reality, this actually isn't as bad as I make it sound. A worst case scenario is kind of just, one that isn't really ideal. It isn't terrible. I mean, there are other partnership opportunities, and there also is the opportunity for Microsoft/343 to run their own tournaments. This would require a new section of Microsoft, which could potentially be good for Halo. It means that Microsoft would be dedicating a whole workforce to run these tournaments and having Halo put in the forefront of this tournament. And I mean, having Halo in the forefront for a single organization who is promoting tournaments, I think would be awesome. I mean, Riot Games does this for League of Legends already. With that said, it doesn't mean that 343 or Microsoft should follow in the footsteps of Riot Games. It isn't always the best decision, and in reality, it will all have to come down to Microsoft's decision and what happens with MLG and Activision Blizzard as well. Either way, this is all speculation by my part. Take it with the biggest grain of salt that you can muster. And with that, that is all I have to say about Halo Esports and MLG for you guys today. So with that, I ask you the question, what do you guys think will happen with Halo and MLG since MLG has been acquired by Activision Blizzard? Let me know in the comments section. I'd definitely like to hear what you guys have to say about all this. And as always, I would like to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.